No, literally all my shit is broken right now. My phone tripod's broken, my camera tripod's broken, my microphone's broken. Like I have like nothing right now. I don't have the Octo Buddy anymore.
Oh, you don't?
What happened to it?
It came off. It was like it lost its stickiness to the sticky part, and then only the sticky part was left on my phone.
That's surprising, actually.
I know.
Mine just gets disgusting, and I end up having to get a new one.
Yeah, you can wash like you can put water on it.
They're just like it just holds on to a bunch of hair and gunk and stuff on the sides of it.
I've been wanting to get like, have you seen the one where like you can just stick it on a mirror or something, or like place it somewhere and it's not on your phone? Like it's the same stickiness thing, but it's like a separate device. Like it looks like a little shelf kind of. And then like you put that on the mirror on setting on something, and then you put your phone on top of it. I kind of want to get that.
Just have like a ton of those all over the house.
Yeah.
that would be actually so nice. Like, you just pick your phone up and put it wherever to get all the angles.
Dude, some people literally do that. I think Danny Austin has that. Like she has one just in her bathroom mirror like all the time. And then it just stays there.
Yeah. She does a lot of like bathroom talking to the camera content.
Yeah. Also Lauren Bosstick. Is it Bosstick or Bossick?
I have no idea.
I think it's Bossick, but I have no idea, to be honest. I never check if there's actually a T in there.
Well, whatever her name is, she shared a tripod that I keep wanting to buy. Like it's up and in my Amazon cart. I keep almost buying it, but it's like one pole type of thing.
Oh,
and then, like,
that's
you
what
can
I
just
got.
move it up and down. You got it? The white one?
Yeah, I didn't get hers, but it's like I got a very similar one, and it is so much nicer. I like didn't realize how convenient it was. And it's just like so much easier to store away, and it's easy to like take with you if you need to, because it's like this big. And so like traveling wise, if you wanted to like go in your car, like it's just so awkward to like click open all of the little things and then like push it down. So
and then when I'm trying to get like a certain height, like it's like you have to adjust all three fucking legs of the tripod to like try to get them at the exact same height.
Oh yeah, that's so dumb.
I hate that.
Yeah, you need to search for a monopod, which is like one arm instead of a tripod. But even has three that you have to adjust.
But even there's other ones that like you still have to adjust the little like
unscrew it or whatever.
All you do is like pull it out and then push it back in. But I think it's just nice because it also can like go up to your height of like you, so like you can be standing and like filming. You know how there's like some tripods that like are like here. You're just like,
yes,
yeah. Sometimes I like to literally squat down like when I'm filming. I'm like,
yeah,
it's so
just an awkward situation. So I really like that one.
That's so funny.
Highly recommend.
I miss you guys. I feel like we have so much to catch up on.
I know.
I've made a list in my phone.
Oh, what's your list?
Okay. Well, maybe we should do the intro first.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of So Glad We're Friends. I'm Maggie.
I'm Devin.
I'm Brittany.
Okay. Let me look to my list. First of all, the TikToker Monet. Do you know her?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just obsessed with her. I just love her so much. I think she's like maybe the prettiest human I've ever seen in my whole life. Her and her boyfriend are so cute. His name's Jalen, and her mom's so beautiful. And I just think that she's like cute. So pretty, and like all of her content is so like she's just so authentically herself. And I think she does a really good job of like talking to the audience, like the way it's always like, oh, I just want to like sit down and have a chat with you guys. Like I feel like she's literally talking to me with her content, and I just love
when you see creators like that and you really love their content, does it make you want to be them and like do what they're doing?
Yeah,
that's
like
how
to
I
change
am.
my content. Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god, I want to like instead of just being like embracing myself and being myself on TikTok, it makes me want to be like, oh my god, I want to do exactly what they're doing because I love it.
Yeah. But I think that there's a way to like combine it, because like what Maggie's talking about, like she's like talking to you and making you feel like that. I still feel like you can like mesh the two together where it's like you, but in your personality, but just their
take
style.
inspiration.
Yeah, it's just their style and like their delivery of how they're doing it,
but sometimes it's like, I'm never going to be a makeup TikToker, but like sometimes if I see one, I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. But it's like, no, that's not my personality. That's not my brand. But like, I just get this urge where I'm like, I just want to be them and do exactly what they're doing.
I think because it opens up also different like opportunities that those types of creators have, and like the more fashion and makeup world, like that's definitely more of the brand trips and more of the pop-up events and everything that they get invited to. Like
that's why I think like JC and Emily do a really good job of like including it and showing the things that they use, but not being like an expert on it.
Because what was the one that JC just went on that brand trip?
Way.
She did aloe. Oh, did she do way too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they went to St.
Her aloe one was to freaking Hawaii.
I know,
just magical.
For 2 days.
Was it 2 days?
I think it was like 2 full days.
That's insane.
That'd be hard for me to go all the way to Hawaii for 2 full days.
Definitely. I would just stay longer.
Jam-packed schedules though.
Yeah.
Like some people want to get back home and like on to the next thing. And I'm like, no. Like I'm ready to just chill.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I would not be made for brand trips. Like it's too much.
Me either.
The schedule is like
I would love it.
Yeah, you would thrive. Like you'd be
thrive
doing all the networking.
I went to I spoke on a panel last night.
Oh my God, I was going to ask you about that.
I was going to say, you never tell us this I'm sure you told us. But then I saw your TikTok and I was like, what, or your Instagram, and I was like, what the fuck? Why didn't I know you were doing this?
My friend asked me to speak on it. It was for like a bunch of CEOs and like startups and everything. And I did a panel with influencer marketing, or like on influencer marketing, and kind of like my perspective from like the education and like agency side. But it was just I fucking love networking, and I love like meeting new people and just asking them questions and getting to know them and understanding like what makes them, like why are they passionate about what they're doing. And like I think I'm gonna make it a goal to at least do one of these a month. Like,
was it all like virtual dinner.
No, it was in person. It's the in-person. The in-person is so like that's what I've been missing. I need the in-person piece of it. And there's another girl I met at the event, and she has like an entire like founder like networking group for women. And so she puts on like I think monthly events maybe, or at least quarterly. And so I want to like put them on my schedule and just make sure I go to them. But
that's really cool.
I miss the in-person stuff.
So I'm basically going on a brand trip in a month, but it's just with my management agency. But I need you, Brittany, to like help me make a list of questions that I can just like ask all the people, because I am so bad at like small talk, but I want to practice because there are a bunch of people that I've never met. So I'm basically going to be like networking and talking to them and asking them. I mean, I can ask like, oh, what kind of content do you create? I literally need to have a list planned out in my head and like to practice, because it does not come naturally to me. Yeah.
Part of it though too, you know what, I forgot, I was listening to something today, and part of it though is like practicing shutting your brain off.
Yeah, because my brain freaks the fuck out anytime I'm like having a one-on-one conversation with someone.
Yeah, but it's like actively listening to what someone's saying and then coming up with a question just based on your curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like the social anxiety and like the anxiety and overwhelm of it is like taking over that part of your brain that's able to actively listen and think. But that's where I think like if you can practice having those conversations where you're like, oh, like this guy was telling me about his business is like tinted windows. I don't know shit about tinted windows, but like I was like listening to what he was saying, and then I just was asking like follow-up questions like, how did you get into this? Like, what was your process? What is your position at the company? Like, how are you passionate about it? And it just led to a really good conversation, but I like didn't have any of these things planned out ahead of time. I was just basing it on like that individual and what they were doing and what they were like interested and passionate about.
That's weird because I feel way more comfortable like if it was a window tinter, like something that I don't know about or like something where I feel genuinely curious to ask those questions. But then if it's someone in my space, then that brings like the insecurity of where I'm then in my head thinking like, what am I going to say next? How do I show them that I am also in this space and that I'm good or whatever? Like, how do I don't know. Then I'm in my head, but like it just depends on the circumstance that my mind can be blank and like actually listen and then just like ask questions.
That is such a good point though. I think that's like that's your ego though. And that's our ego when we're like, oh, we have to show that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's like, I think that's a really good thing you pointed out, because I think that's something like, can you just shut that all off and just pretend it's a window tinter? Like everybody's like a completely different job.
Yeah.
And then you could throw in like your 2 cents when you have something relatable, like if there's, you know, a difficult thing that you both like talk about.
Yeah, because that's what's weird is like if you're talking to somebody, like if I'm talking to someone about my job who knows nothing and like I can just fully be confident and like explaining to a point where it sounds cool to them, like that's way easier for me than like if it's somebody in this space where I'm like, trying to prove myself. I guess that's like an ego thing.
Yeah. I guess I always just, in those sort of conversations, I just try and make most of the conversations about the other person. And I put the spotlight on them, and then I let them ask me questions back if they like want to know more. But I like make it less about me and more about just the other person and the questions I want to ask them.
Yeah, like that's in your situation, I'm realizing I would do that.
It's so hard. I'm so self-centered that I always think it's about me. Like not in like a bad way, but like in an insecure way.
I think you try to relate also, like you try to like help the person. Like if somebody's talking, like that's something I do too, of where you like then bring up yourself in that situation because you're trying to make them feel comfortable, not because you're like trying to make it about yourself.
Yeah, but like I'm just like so worried the whole time, like, oh, do I sound stupid, or what are they thinking about me, or am I asking dumb questions, am I being awkward, instead of being present and being like, oh, I actually want to get to know you. I'm like so in my head, like
I would maybe think
that was a stupid question,
like a list of like if you feel genuinely curious about these people too, like, and this your management, and it's also like other creators, right? Or is it just
like, no, all the creators that
is so fucking scary.
It's like a brand trip.
I would think of genuine questions that I would have for them, maybe like
each individual. Like I'm going to do my research about each person and be like, oh, so I saw you went on this vacation this year.
Yeah, or there's things you already know, like about brands they're working with, or you could be like, I really liked that partnership you did with blah blah blah.
How the fuck did you work with Urban Outfitters?
Exactly, that's exactly what I was thinking. Honestly,
can you bring me up to them at some point?
That's so necessary. I think there's so many different ways to go about it though, but I think the other people too are probably also thinking about themselves, like, oh, do I sound stupid? Like equally as much as you're like, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay, have you ever tried beta blockers?
What is
isn't that like a Xanax or?
I don't think it's like Xanax. I've never done it, but people keep talking about them more and more, especially for situations like propranolol? I genuinely don't know. Oh, this episode's about medication, by the way. So makes sense.
I do. I mean, alcohol helps me a lot, but
I think it's like something like that where it like literally it's like made for presenting and public speaking and like situations like that.
Yeah, propranolol is a beta blocker.
Okay,
I have
what
some.
What is propranolol?
Well, it's a high blood pressure medication, so it lowers your heart rate.
Yeah, it takes away the physical symptoms of anxiety or something, so you don't feel as anxious, and then you can.
I'm not sure if that would help my brain.
Yeah,
it blocks the effects of hormone epinephrine and adrenaline. That makes sense.
I could try it, but then if I'm also drinking,
maybe you would.
I think.
Combo.
Yeah, I don't know. I've taken it before. It didn't.
I just found that was like interesting. Like the Kardashians all do it. Like Khloe does it a lot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think it was like a Xanax?
Well, I think people also have too. Like illness anxiety once I take it, and I know it's supposed to like lower my heart rate. I'm like, oh my God, my heart's gonna stop. My heart's not beating fast enough. Like I
for sure
anxiety about that.
I would do this.
Not blocking the betas enough.
I think Chloe talked about it when she was doing like accepting an award or something, right?
I think so, or like some type of presentation.
God, that would be so scary.
Or like when they go on interviews.
Yeah. Because she gets really nervous doing like late night interviews. Yeah. Did you guys see that all the late night hosts are starting a podcast together?
Oh, because they can't do their show.
Yeah, they can't do the show.
Oh, because of the. Oh, they haven't been doing it? You guys are so fucking out of it. So I've been realizing the Smartless podcast, I like after every episode, I like go to Joe and I'm like, did you know this? And he's like, Brittany, that's like 10 fucking years old. He's just like, yeah, like cool. I'm like, so and Jason did this and Ben Stiller's done this and blah blah blah. He's just like, yeah, that's like
they're movies from like 2014.
Or like projects, or just like who they. I was like, oh, did you know that Will Arnett was married to Amy Poehler? And he's like,
okay, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh my God,
that's so funny.
So when he's like Amy or my ex-wife, you're just like, okay, cool.
Well, I finally looked it up yesterday, and I was like, oh,
you're like Amy who?
Will Arnett marriages.
That's so funny. But it's cute because they're donating all the money that they make from the podcast to pay all of their like teams at the show who can't be being paid right now.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, because I was like, damn, they don't need like just the extra money right now.
A bunch of Jimmy Fallon's employees are coming out against him, saying,
okay, I just saw that.
Shitty.
Which is really scary to me because I love Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, but like some of that you just kind of have to take with a grain of salt because like I haven't read what any of the employees are saying, but like sometimes you have to be a boss and you can't always be nice because you want the product to be perfect. And like when you're in a high stress environment where you're putting out a show every single night, unless he's like literally picking on them, which like with the Ellen DeGeneres thing, people were literally offended by things that Ellen was saying to them. But also I kind of think that that's Ellen's like sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's just,
I still don't know.
It's more complicated than it ever seems, I think.
I honestly got out of the TikTok that I saw immediately because I was like, I don't want to hear about Jimmy Fallon being bad.
I know. It's like same like with the whole Lizzo thing. It's like, well, I still like Lizzo's music and I'm still going to listen to it. And same with Doja Cat. She is like crazy. I don't really know what she's doing, but like I love her music.
I think there probably has to be a balance where they might be in that high stress environment and the tone of like someone directing you like go do this and they forget to say please, or like they're just in a high stress environment where it doesn't excuse the behavior necessarily, but like it's context of what they're doing and they're trying, you're saying like they're trying to put out this production every single night or whatever. And I also think that like I would hope that in some of those after the high stress environment's over, they maybe would be able to like recognize like, hey, I shouldn't have done that or something like that. But like maybe the person didn't receive that apology or something, or like they didn't accept that apology from the person.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it's none of my business. And if I still like his content and his show, like that's all I care about. Like people get so offended because they have these parasocial relationships with these celebrities, and like when they're not living up to their expectations of who you thought they would be, it like kind of breaks your heart, and so you get offended and upset by that. But it's like I'm not entitled to know what he's doing behind the scenes as a boss.
That's what I was going to say too, is I wonder how many of those people, and with the Ellen situation, are like kind of lowered down to where they're not even really supposed to be interacting with the Jimmy Fallons and the Ellens. And then like when they perceive things as being rude, when maybe it's like they don't even have time to talk to them. And it might just be very quick, like just very quick talking. And
taking things personally that shouldn't be.
I don't know. I feel like if it's not like racist or sexual harassment or things like that, then like I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
Move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Also, I've been obsessed with Suits. Like I
just started it.
I'm obsessed.
What season are you on?
Started again.
The end of season 2, I think.
Okay. I've watched like 5 episodes.
This is a type of TV where there's like 20 episodes in a season, right? At the beginning.
Yeah. Traditional network TV.
Good. So good.
The first season was shorter, I think. I'm not sure exactly how many, but yeah, I'm definitely on episode like 15 or 16 of season 2. But I think I didn't like season 2 as much as season 1, but just the pilot is like so fucking good. Like I think everybody should just go watch the pilot, even if you took that as like a one-off movie type thing, because the pilot's also like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it's 2 episodes. It's like part 1 and 2, and they just combined it on Netflix.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it's so good.
Yeah, and I actually like the characters
in it. Yeah.
Like I was afraid that I wouldn't, like, because I don't usually connect with male characters, and I'm just like, whatever. But
I also never really liked Meghan Markle. Like, she's kind of, I always never really liked her now? For whatever reason. More, definitely.
Okay.
The show's definitely
I haven't really,
more.
I've only watched a few episodes, so I haven't really got to know her yet. But
it's like just interesting
like
thinking of that. Like that. Like what the royal family and everything perceived her as and everything, because I didn't ever watch Suits before, so now seeing it, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the movie Elemental?
No.
Mm-mm.
It is the cutest movie. I like
Elemental.
Really? Is it Pixar?
Yeah, it's Pixar. So it's about like these elements in like the element world. So there's like water, fire, air, and what's this?
Earth.
Yeah.
Like solid.
Do they feature an Earth one though? They have to. They do. They're not as much of
this is a cartoon?
Character. Yes. It's
Why
so
have I
freaking
never heard
cute.
of this?
And it's like the fire, it's like the main characters are like the fire girl and then like the water boy, and just like their lives and kind of working together, and it just like it has like a good underlying messages. It's kind of similar to what's that other neuroscience one?
Yeah,
Inside Out,
the one about feelings.
Inside Out, yeah.
Loved it.
But it's like less to do with like there's like underlying messages that are similar, but
cute.
It's just a really cute story. Yeah, it's very heartwarming.
I love that.
In that book, this book that I was reading called Bittersweet, she interviewed the creator of Inside Out, and he was talking about how they almost didn't feature sadness as a main character because they just didn't want to portray sadness as an emotion. But then as the creation went on, he's like, wait, sadness is so essential to telling the story and like relating to human emotions and tugging on your heartstrings, and like sadness became like the most important part of the movie because that's like the bitter and the sweet.
Whoa,
that's so
makes the story into like something that, you know, makes you cry.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
Yeah, it's crazy that they almost didn't even.
I wonder if that was like a similar
emotion.
Conversation. So with the fire girl, she obviously like has like a temper and like she's like learning how to like control it, but sometimes she like spontaneously combusts, and so like I wonder if it was kind of a similar conversation of like, should we portray this sort of emotion that's,
I'm sure,
super, you know, a very negative emotion usually.
Is it based off that game? I used to play this game always that was like Fire Girl and Water Boy, and you like, it's like a 2-player game on the computer, and you run around and stuff and have to go through all these like mazes.
Is it not like Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
No, that's a separate thing as well.
Oh,
you know, I don't know. I've never played that. I think that we just like randomly found it.
That's so great. Like, was it in the theaters?
I think it might have been. I don't
think
know
it
where
was.
We watched it like on a streaming service, like, you know, one of those like download thingies. So
I'll have to watch that. We also just watched Frozen 2 for the first time, and it was so cute.
Well, what?
I have not watched that
for
either.
The first time.
Yeah, I never saw the second one. I don't know why.
Oh, I love Frozen.
It's really good.
We watched that. I think we went to the theaters with like Joe's family and watched that after Thanksgiving.
Cute.
That is cute.
I always love like holiday movie nights.
Yeah, me too.
One of our listeners, Sienna Speaks is her username. She messaged us because she was telling us about Wattpad, which is that website that I always used to read fan fiction on, like in middle school and high school and stuff, that people just write on. I used to write on it as well. But she said that there's this other website called Archive of Our Own.
That's what I use.
Oh, you do use it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, because she was saying
you're writing your fan fiction.
Yeah. I think that's what people use now.
Oh, okay. Because she was saying that you might be able to find more Daisy Jones fan fiction on there, and that also you can download things for our Kindles, which I did not.
Oh, what?
Yeah, she said like on Wattpad and on this other one, you can like download things as PDFs or EPUBs files, and then you can read them on your Kindle.
Changing. I am totally going to reread my favorite one on my Kindle.
Yeah. So
which is your favorite?
That was pretty life-changing.
It's just this person did this fan fiction, like filling in the scenes that weren't actually seen in the show, like just making up other scenes, cute. Basically. I'm like really picky about fan fiction. It has to be well written, and it has to stay like canon. It has to stay on with the same storyline of the actual show.
Yeah, it can't be like, well, that
like they can't be like
a completely
Billy and Daisy met in high school and they fell in love. Like, no, I need it to be like exactly like the show. So like that's the only one that I.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it was good
because there probably is a lot more
like
like Billy and Daisy met in high school or whatever.
There is a lot, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because there's a lot that is just like written badly. Like it has to sound like the characters, and they have to like say things that the characters would actually say. And yeah, a lot.
Well, it's probably like literally high schoolers, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're like, we need something more relatable. Give us like the high school version of this Daisy Jones.
Okay, the last thing in my notes before we move on to the actual topic. In this podcast, they were saying that the thing that you obsess over most between the ages of 13 and 18 is the thing that you have the biggest chance at being wildly successful at in life. And I was just wondering your thoughts on that and what you think that your thing would have been.
Being a vampire?
13 and 18.
Wait, that's so funny.
Being famous? I've always kind of been obsessed with like celebrities.
Yeah, like mine was the internet for sure.
Just the internet as a whole?
Like videos and influencers and everything.
Between 13 and 18, we just had like Facebook, really. There wasn't Instagram as much. When I was like 16, 17, 18, like Instagram was like the photo editing app. But
I just thought it was an interesting concept.
I have to think about this.
Because like that's usually right after that is when you kind of choose what you're supposed to do with your life.
Most people at that age are like obsessed with their friends, or like I was obsessed with dance, or like, you know, they're obsessed with their hobbies and their sports.
But exactly, I think that's kind of the point. Is like, what if you turn your hobbies and the things that you love most like into a job? Like if you were really obsessed with dance, like what if you continued on with dance and was like,
I would probably be poor and very anxious.
I feel like I really loved.
You're still anxious, so
like, even more anxious because I would have to be booking jobs every fucking week.
I feel like maybe something to do with like leadership.
Yeah,
was because I was like captain of the lacrosse team like at 15.
I did not know you were captain of the lacrosse team at 15 years old.
Yeah.
What?
That makes me think of Mean Girls when Regina George at the end, after she like breaks her neck and everything, isn't she on lacrosse and she's like a jock all of a sudden and like takes her anger out on people.
Wait, like how were you the captain? Were you not a freshman?
It was my sophomore year. My school was weird. We were the first class, so there was no seat. Like there was no one above us.
Whoa, it was like a brand new school?
Class. Yeah. And so like when we were freshmen, we were like the only people in the school, and then sophomores, we were the sophomores, and then there's freshmen underneath us.
It was weird.
That is really cool and interesting.
So like, maybe that's another theme, is that like we were the leaders the
whole time, even as freshmen
in school.
I would have loved that.
Me too. Liked it, but I also kind of like realized what we missed out on once we were in college.
Dating seniors.
Because we would like
and like being invited to older kids' parties, or even like Brittany being on lacrosse could have bonded with older girls and like had mentors and stuff.
And I also think too, like being on Michigan's campus, like there were so many people from high school that would come to like our tailgates and like the parties and stuff, like when we were in college. And it was like, that would have been so fun to just meet more of those people.
That is so interesting. Were you excited about that choice? Like, did you want to go to that school?
My middle school fed into 2 different high schools, and like less than half of the school went to this new school, and then the other half was going to like the normal high school. So that kind of sucked a bit, just being separated from like my friends, because like my core group of friends, 2 of us, like there was 5 of us, 3 of them went to here, like this other school, and I'm like not very close with them anymore. And then the other 2, like 2 of us went to the new school.
Wow.
So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
It would have been like, I don't want to go to the new school. I want to go to the school that my friends are going to.
Yeah. That's like the overall consensus. But I'm really happy. I mean, like looking back, I'm like, my friend could have gone to like the kind of normal school, and she like, I think she wanted to do it for her, but like obviously we did it together, so that was really nice. Because she had the option to do it. I didn't have an option. I was like zoned for the other school. I went kayaking with Rosie, and I don't think I'll ever be able to do it again.
Why?
She like kept jumping out of the boat, and then
that's
like
what my dogs
swimming
do every time.
without a life jacket though. Like,
oh no.
And she's a fine swimmer, but like I wasn't as confident in her swimming abilities, so I would like keep pulling her back in. So now my legs are just covered in bruises from like her nails like digging
oh my god,
like pull, because I have to like pull her back up on the kayak. So it lasted a total of like 5 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I got a picture, I'm ready to go back in.
Do you have a life jacket?
I do, but it was a last minute thing that we decided to do, so I didn't bring it with me.
Yeah, that's the only thing I guess that makes it easier. Like having the handle to pull them up kind of helps.
I just grabbed her scruff.
Yeah, no, that's like a lot. I would be scratches fucking everywhere.
Have you guys seen that girl on TikTok that got ran over by a boat?
What?
No.
In the lake. Oh my god, I just came across her 2 days ago. She was tubing behind a boat with her friend, and the friend fell out. So the driver of the boat like whipped the boat really hard to get the girl that fell out, and the boat ended up running over the girl, and she hit the propeller under the boat, and it like almost sliced off her entire butt. It hit her in other places too. But like,
that'd be my worst fear.
Yeah, she had to get like several blood transfusions because she lost so much blood. She was not at her home state, so they had to like medical transport her back to Salt Lake once she was stable. So that would be a whole other scary thing, like not even being home. She was in the hospital for like, I want to say like 6 weeks. But like,
oh my god,
when they jumped in and got her out of the water, the guy had to like get her butt and like hold it to her because it was like almost off.
Oh my god,
we're just making shocked faces if you're not watching the video.
But she's like, she's so cute. I've been watching all of her videos, and like,
how old is she?
I want to say maybe 18.
Oh my god, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Wait, so how long ago was it? Like, is she fully recovered now?
A couple months ago now. No, she's still like, she can't sit.
Can she sit? Oh, yes.
And she has to like,
how does she
lay? Posted a video of like on her side, I think. They have to like medical transport her to her doctor's visits too, because she can't sit up. So they have to like put her in like an ambulance on a stretcher to take her to the hospital, and they have to like clean out her wound and stuff.
Wait. Because, how does she go to the bathroom?
She has a bag.
Oh my god, this poor girl. This is so sad. I wonder, that friend better feel so terrible.
Yeah, I don't think she really knew the driver, and she said they weren't drinking.
That's good, at least, especially if they're underage.
But her sister was with her on the boat, which was good. But I mean, ugh.
That is horrific.
crazy.
I'm so scared of like just those random things happening.
I know.
Like that are just fully accidents.
I've always been afraid of a boat hitting me in the lake, but like I've always been like, no, that would never happen, you know?
Yeah, or I saw this girl, like this one girl's husband died because like he just went under a jet ski somehow. Like they were all on a boat and there was like multiple jet skis out and like, I don't know, just something freak accident happened and he immediately died.
Holy
and
fuck.
She said she like had a feeling too, like right before he went out on the jet ski, like that something was gonna happen, but she was like, no, it's just my anxiety or something. That's why I always get so scared, because people always say they get feelings and I don't know what the fuck is actual feelings or anxiety.
Yeah,
there's some, I forgot, like I saw somebody on TikTok or Instagram saying that they didn't realize like the feelings that they had were like, they thought that something was like always always bad was gonna happen, but then they like realized that, oh, it's like actually anxiety.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that's crazy.
It's like you just have to like inspect the feelings, I guess, like, and just tell yourself whatever proof you have behind what thoughts you might be having. That's what I was gonna say. I forgot to say to the girl that was wondering, you know, if her boyfriend's the one or if she would be like confused about that. And I feel like you just have to tell yourself like all the factual information that you do know, and like, I know that he'll be a good dad, I know that he'll stick around, I know that he's nice to me, I know that, like, all the factual things. That's kind of all you have.
But like 9 times out of 10, you're not having like an intuitive thought, you know, like it's like majority of the time it's anxiety. But then it's interesting. You can't live your whole life being like, oh, I have this feeling in my stomach that I can't go to the lake today, you know.
But there is something that like to be said about trusting your intuition and like tapping into that. But I think that you have to like do a really good job of deciphering what is an intuitive feeling versus anxiety. And
if there's like some type
with yourself though, and like really learn that difference.
Yeah, if there's evidence that is making you feel uncomfortable, like if you're walking down an alley at night and there's a guy that's near you, then like, yes, there's evidence telling you that something bad could happen. But if you're just getting on an airplane and there's nothing wrong with the airplane, then it's like, that's just anxiety. If you get on the airplane and, you know, the pilot is leaving and something's fishy, you know, like you have to realize the evidence going on around you and whether or not that evidence could actually be telling you that there's something wrong, rather than just like anxious thoughts that are obsessive and have no
I guess that's a different. I'm like kind of even thinking just about people though, because I feel like I get thoughts and like feelings about people, and that's something I've like been learning how to trust.
I definitely am good at that. I think I have good intuition,
and that's like an intuitive
I think
feeling.
Still there's actually actual evidence around that too, like the body language or the things that they said to you or the way that they're looking at you. Like,
that's true.
You can say that there's actual physical evidence to what's making you feel that way.
Yeah.
But then, like, what do you think of like what they're called, psychics and stuff, who say that they had those feelings like in them their whole life, and like that you can kind of like, everybody has it within them and you have to learn how to like tune into it, and then you can fully talk to ghosts.
Yeah, but I think most of us are not tuned into it at all.
Yeah, that's what
we just have anxiety.
I think it can be trained.
I kind of think so too. Like, that's why I'm like, sometimes I feel just like a little psychic.
Yeah. I would love to like go to somebody that's like actually trustworthy, that's a psychic or like a medium or something, because I think there's obviously a lot of like hoaxes with it, but there's also people that are like legit.
I know, I would love to do that.
Speaking of anxiety and
speaking
ADHD and depression and all the things, let's dive in.
We are medicated.
Medication.
Yes, today we're going to be talking about our medication journeys.
And just like the start of it, how we like got started on the process.
Who wants to go
that's
first?
a very
40 minutes
I think it's a
in.
very scary, like unnerving, uncomfortable, unknown.
It's an uncomfortable conversation to have with your doctor.
Like, people talk about like being medicated, and they talk about like, you know, depression, anxiety, ADHD, all the things, but I don't think a lot of people talk about like the process of getting started.
Yeah. And like people talking about it is what made me feel comfortable and like I could benefit from medication. So that's always appreciated. But then like the step once I made the appointment and like went in to see my doctor, and the medical assistant is like, so why are you here today? Like that whole conversation for me is so awkward, because I just feel like, because it's not, again, it's like not something that anybody can do a test or have evidence for, like physical evidence that like I'm depressed or anxious.
Well, did you do a test?
Your head.
They had me do a test.
Like what?
There's like questionnaires that they can do.
Yeah, but the questionnaire is like,
I think
how many times a week do you feel blah blah blah? And it's like, it depends. And those are so, I don't know, I can't think of the word for it, but it's like not a science, you know, it's so it's different for everyone. Everyone will say the answers differently. Like, it's.
Did you not do any sort of test?
I did the like, how many times a week do you feel sad? How many times a week do you feel hopeless? You know, how many times a week do you blah, blah, blah? And it's like, and the answers are like never, several times, every day. And it's like, okay, it's either never or several times. Like, and it's just like, some weeks,
I think it still gives them like
it's several times. I don't know.
Indication though, at least directionally.
But then it's like also the question, how many times a week do you feel unmotivated, or how many times a week do you feel hopeless? It's like hard to even quantify that as well, because it's like, okay, well, am I feeling hopeless, or am I just a piece of shit? You know,
that's
like, am I hopeless because I didn't, do I feel hopeless because I didn't wake up early and go to the gym, or am I feeling hopeless because there's some kind of chemical imbalance in my brain? Like, you can't really quantify that.
I think that's you being judgmental of yourself again and trying to downplay it, because those just straight up are. It's not.
Yeah, and it gives them like, if someone doesn't have it and they're like never, then like they probably don't need it. But if there's like some level of it, those questions all kind of like lead towards, okay, this is maybe what's happening.
Like you're maybe.
But then also a lot of times when you're like, I don't know if I feel this way, then they're going to be like, well, you should just go to therapy. But it's like, I want, for a lot of people,
therapy is a good option for them to like start with. But other people,
but also like when people say, like when someone says to me that I should just go to therapy, it's like downplaying something that I'm already downplaying in my head. Like, you can just talk it through and you'll be better.
Going to therapy is not like a downplay. That's like a, hey, go.
To me, saying go to therapy is saying, well, it's because you're not working out.
You don't need an actual chemical imbalance.
It's because, it's because you're not eating healthy. It's because you're not going to the gym. That's why you're depressed, you know? Like, it's because you're not seeing a therapist. It's the same. It feels like the same thing.
I think that's also like really depends on the doctor too, because that's what I like first got medication in Arizona and then changed my medication here. And it was like wildly different experiences of the way that the doctor like treated it. And then I think it also does have to, like, it is true if you're going to the gym and eating healthy and all these things, like that will probably make you feel better. But it's like a lot of people, like, I needed medication to be able to then do those things to make myself feel better. Like,
and that's what I told my doctor.
Yeah.
What do they
I
say?
don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's like wrong
she
necessarily for a doctor to say, like, you need to go to therapy too, or like you should try therapy if you've never tried it, because like for some people maybe that is like the magic thing that helps them.
Yeah, I agree. Then other people, it just for some reason in my head it feels like
like they're kind of invalidating.
Yeah,
validating.
Yeah.
Did you have a hard time saying like I need help, like to your doctor?
Yeah, I have a hard time with it. in general. Like I downplay it to myself, and then I feel like I have to like, I feel like I'm almost lying for them to take me seriously, but I can't. I mean, it's almost like, I don't know. It's weird.
I get so emotional when it comes to that sort of like conversation where I have to be like, I need help. Like, I'm not okay. It just like brings up so many emotions for me, and I like feel so uncomfortable, and like every time I've done that with my doctor, I'm like, I just break down crying, and then I just
you have to be very vulnerable. Yeah. And it's hard with a doctor. It's hard even like to say it to my family.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably even harder for your family to like tell your family.
Because like your family wants to try to fix it for you. And I've learned that like sometimes when you're going through something that's like an intangible feeling that you're having, it's best to just validate it for that person instead of like being like, well, just think about it like this, or, you know, it'll be fine, or, you know, you'll feel better when it's over. Like I had this friend who was really anxious about babysitting her nephew for 3 days. And I just kept saying like, oh, well, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. You'll have fun. You'll feel so good once it's over, blah, blah, blah. And she just kept saying, but like, yeah, but I'm still so anxious about it. And then I was like, wait, like she just wants to be validated and to be understood that she's anxious about it.
Right.
Was any of your family on medication? Either of you?
My sister is.
My dad and then my sisters have been on and off different medications.
Because that like made it easier for me. I think like that's why it got brought up, because my mom was on Lexapro already. So it was like,
that's nice.
I knew that it helped her. And then like when I brought it up to my doctor, it was very much like, well, what other family members take what medicine, because it most likely will work for you as well. If a certain medication works for them, then like we'll put you on that one first. So that's like why they picked Lexapro the first time.
For me, being that my sister has depression, it makes it harder for me because she's like way worse off than me, you know? Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm not sleeping till 3 p.m. I have my shit together and she doesn't. So that's what depression is, not what I have, you know?
Yeah. I think that's really hard. So then how did the rest of the conversation go with your doctor? Like after you talked to the medical assistant, kind of like told them what was up?
She just came in and asked me the weird thing is because I was talking about my anxiety, and my doctor kept kind of saying, so which one is worse? Which one affects you more, your anxiety or your depression? And she kept asking like a similar question. And I kept saying, well, my depression, because I'm used to my anxiety. I deal with my anxiety every single day and I'm used to it. But now my depression is making it hard to be productive and be motivated. But now as I think about it, it's like my anxiety is so fucking annoying. And the fact that I have to deal with it every day, it's not something that I should have to deal with every day. So like, I'm glad that the medication that I'm on helps with both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kept saying like, I don't want the depression. I'm used to the anxiety. Like, it's fine.
You're like, actually, can we get rid of both?
Yeah. Does your sister have anxiety as well, or just depression?
She does, but not the way that like we have it.
Like, I wonder if it's your anxiety that's discounting your depression of like...
Yeah, I'm sure.
Probably.
The overthinking.
Yeah, of like convincing yourself that you're not actually. Because like all those survey questions and everything, the way you're describing it is like that's depression.
Yeah. And luckily having you guys to talk to and tell me that it is, because like if I didn't have you guys or like social media, I would just be like, no, I'm just shitty.
Yeah.
But like you calling yourself shitty is feeling hopeless. Don't you think?
I feel like I think it's low self-esteem. I don't know if that's depression. I don't know.
I guess so. If you're feeling like you still like are excited for the future and your projects going on and everything, but then you just also feel.
But something else I've realized is that like anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, it's all about the thoughts that are going in and out of your brain. Yeah. And while anxiety is like unrealistic, like I'm afraid something bad is going to happen thoughts. Depression is those negative thoughts about yourself and how nothing's ever going to be good or you're never going to be good. It's just all these obsessive thoughts. And I think that like medication helps to quiet those obsessive thoughts.
Yeah. Were you nervous to start taking the medication?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like did that deal with like your health anxiety too? Because I think that's what I hear from my friends who start is they get scared of what side effects might happen because they tell you like you might be suicidal or like these really scary things where it's like, oh, I like if that happens to me, that would not be good.
Yeah. So like I took Prozac in 2018 when I had that really bad medical anxiety and like it was making me sick. I've talked about it before on the podcast, so I don't want to go over it again, but I started taking Prozac, and when I started taking that, it made me feel like a tiny bit dizzy and a tiny bit like just nauseous, like just gross.
Yeah.
For like a week to 10 days. And so once I started I'm taking Zoloft now, I was really worried about that. And so I was just taking halves. So I took halves.
Did the doctor tell you to do that? Or you just took that up on your own accord?
My friend Ashlyn told me that her doctor told her to do that because my friend Ashlyn also takes Zoloft. And it made her
listen to our doctors.
Well, no, I can half the.
Well, let's not promote on like the podcast to just half medication.
I don't think that's unadvisable.
I think that's unadvisable to take medication differently than your doctor prescribes it. Probably.
I don't think so. I think it's
okay.
Fine
Dr. Devon's says to half your meds.
Well, I did. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I think if you want to half your medication, then you can. So I started by taking half, and now I'm taking whole, and I've had no side effects from it. So
I feel like you could ask your doctor before doing that because I've done that with my Adderall where we like start with like a lower dose, and then if I need more, then I can.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not like taking 2 at a time. I think if you're taking less, I mean, if you're suicidal or something, then yeah, don't do that. But like, I think it was fine to take half.
Yeah. How are you feeling now?
I don't really know. I don't think I was taking halves, so I've only been taking a whole for like a week. So I was taking, well, I prescribed 25 milligrams, which is the lowest dose you can do for Zoloft. So, and then I'm meeting with my doctor next week to.
Are you going to tell her you did halvesies?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't think it's a big deal.
No, it's good. That's good though. Do you feel like just better that you're like you took the steps and like you're validating yourself like through this whole process?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling better overall.
Yeah. I think that must be like a really big relief to like be able to like start doing that, because I feel like for me when I started, I felt like I couldn't do it because of course like there's people with like even worse ADD and everything. And
that's how my thoughts were, like, oh, people have it way worse than me.
Yeah. But then when I like saw the effects of the medication, I was like, oh, like the other thing too that like I find kind of like tough with ADHD and Adderall is that so many people use it recreationally, and it's kind of like this
what
fun
makes
thing.
It hard to like ask for help with it.
It's
like impossible
really,
for
and when
Adderall.
people sometimes make comments and like I know that it's nothing, but they're like, oh, like you take your Adderall, so like that's why you're successful. And I'm like, they're not like, I don't take this to be successful. I take this to like live my life normally.
Yeah.
And that's where sometimes I think it's like, I feel embarrassed or ashamed to be like, yeah, I have to take this in order to like be successful. Or like,
but people
not
would
to
understand.
be successful, to do my job.
It's because like people who take it recreationally feel completely different on it than you taking it. Like, so they don't understand that like all it does is make you function as a normal human being. Like you're not like wired like I'm going to get all this work done and not sleep for 24 hours like someone recreationally would be taking it.
Yeah.
When did you go see it? Did you go see a doctor specifically for like attention deficit, or were you younger and a doctor just how old were you?
I was off my freshman year of college. I did so badly. I had like a 3.9 in high school. Like on a
I thought you were going to say the 3.9 was bad. I was like, oh my God, Brittany.
Did you always struggle in high school, like studying and stuff?
No, so that's what I'm saying is like, no. So because my routine in my life was so structured, it held me very accountable to, because like I played sports, I did clubs, I had like a very rigid schedule for my life. And so it didn't really allow a lot of like this, like a lot of the ADD to like go.
It's like you had focused study time or homework time, like, so you had to do it in that time.
And again, I think probably my parents too, they saw my sisters who had really bad ADD and like struggled in school and stuff. And so they're like, oh, you're getting good grades, you're doing all these things. But like, I think like, if I look back, there was like I worked really hard in school. Like, you know, sometimes school comes really easily for people. Like there were certain things that did come easily, but I worked my ass off to like be where I was and to like get the grades that I did in school. And I think that like part of that too was like, I had to work so hard because I had ADD, but like, it was just, you know, use structure in life and everything else to kind of like manage it.
Were your sisters more like fidgety than you and like more of the like traditional boy symptoms of ADHD rather than like?
Yeah, it's interesting that girls even get diagnosed with ADHD as kids because I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't really remember that much. I'm sure I could ask my mom or like our nanny, and she would probably have some like stories or examples of it more so than me. But then I entered into college, no structure, like no like rigidity, like it was all like a free-for-all, and I failed so miserably. And it was really, really hard. And so then I like started talking to some people that like also had ADD, but it was like undiagnosed, and then they got diagnosed, and it just like completely flipped a switch for them.
That's hard too, because that's like the time when people, at least for me, started taking it recreationally. So like that's like when I started hearing more about it in that sense, and then it made me more scared to even like want to get a diagnosis or anything, because I was like, it's just for fun. Yeah. And I never tried it. Like I never wanted to do it recreationally. Like,
yeah, I never had tried it recreationally. Like it didn't even cross my mind. Drugs in general have always like scared me. Like it's not something that like I've had family members that have had like a lot of drug problems and things like that, and so it's always scared me to like even enter into it.
Especially when people act like cracked out on it. Like the way that people would act on it would seem like it felt very intense, or like that it makes you feel extreme things.
Yeah. But then like getting diagnosed and being able to like actually study and stick to a schedule and be like more, and then like my grades started turning around, and I was like, it was a completely different.
So did you go into the doctor and tell them that you were struggling in school, or like how did the conversation start?
Yeah, and then I did like their tests that they have for like ADD, and it like showed that I had just like, it wasn't extreme or anything, but it just showed that I had it.
What is the test?
And it's just like a questionnaire, or like the one I did was just like a long questionnaire.
I did that too. It's like the same as the depression or anxiety one.
And why weren't you prescribed Adderall, Maggie?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think, I don't know. Like, it's very confusing in my mind. Like, I feel the same thing that you do with depression, kind of, where I try to like not validate myself. And I'm like, maybe I just have bad attention spans now, or maybe it's technology, or maybe it's like the anxiety. I don't fucking know.
But you know, it's like really interesting is like when I didn't go get I think there's also this like fucked up thing with Adderall and medication and everything is like, when I have to go get a new prescription, like the process of getting a new prescription is like the worst thing in the world to me.
That's so fucking annoying. Like, what do you have
there's
to do?
no like automation. Like you have to like get on the phone with the doctor every 6 months to like check in, because it's a very controlled
6 months.
Yeah, and sometimes every 3 months at least.
Whoa.
No, actually, I think it's every 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, because usually they fill a prescription for 90 days max.
You can't though. You can only, you have to get a new. You have to like ask for a new prescription every 30 days with Adderall.
My God.
Like I have to go and like remember to like get it.
That
and then
is crazy.
Then I don't get it. And then I, of course, like I forget. And then it's just like this whole thing. So when I was off
when you
of
have
it
ADHD, it's like, okay, I'm going to keep putting off that I need this fucking prescription. And then like, I'm not going to have it for a long time. I'm going to put it off even longer.
And there's a whole shortage. So then remembering to like call the pharmacy and check in on it and everything. It's just like this wild loop. But I didn't take it for like 30 days because I like just couldn't get a prescription. And it was like, because it really like dopamine really affects like your like the decision making, like your frontal cortex or prefrontal cortex of like decision making and executive decision making and all of that stuff, and motivation. And so it makes a lot of sense when you like talk about not really feeling motivated or like distracted or anything like that. It's like that's kind of where, you know, I don't know. But it was like the weirdest feeling that I like couldn't do stuff for like the month that I just didn't take it. And
it's very validating though too.
I feel like that's how I feel every day.
Same.
Like I just don't do stuff. I can't, for some reason I get like that like paralysis of
it was like the worst, but I thought like something was like severely wrong, but it was just the fact that I wasn't on medication. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, so and again, that's a cycle of I've seen a lot of TikToks. How is it depression or is it ADHD? Because ADHD will lead you to be depressed because you can't do stuff that you're expected to do. A lot of people like they can't keep their room clean, or like that's what my sister deals with. I can't like stay productive and focused on one task at a time. And so then when you're not doing that, you start to feel like shit about yourself, and then you get depressed because every single day it's the same cycle of shit where you didn't do what you're supposed to do and you can't stay on task.
And that's why I've always been just so confused. And like even my doctors and therapists seem like it's confusing as well. Like it seems like nobody kind of has the answers to that. And like it's more of a thing where every doctor and therapist has told me basically like the diagnosis is more just for you if like you're wanting that or you feel like it would help you. But really like it doesn't matter what's depression, what's anxiety, what's OCD, what's ADHD, like if we're just finding what medication helps those things. Like it doesn't necessarily matter, because that's always I'm just like, is this thought my anxiety? Is this thought my depression? Is this OCD? Is this ADHD? Like what is wrong with me basically? I've felt my like whole life. So then like I don't know, it kind of helps me sometimes to maybe not have to know what is exactly wrong with me and just instead try to like fix it. But I still feel like I so desperately like want to know what is what and what is coming from different things and what medication is helping.
It's weird to me that you on your medical chart have ADHD, but your doctors have never tried Adderall or Vyvanse on you.
I think because it's such a controlled substance and because people get it for funsies that I don't know, that it's like,
but that's not fair
to
people who literally struggle with it.
But I also think too with sometimes Adderall can make your like anxiety and depression worse, or at least the anxiety part worse.
For sure. So that's
why I think you're probably trying to treat your anxiety and depression over your ADHD.
I think so. And then like the struggle with it is that I was on birth control for a few years before I started any other medication. So I don't know what the underlyingness of just birth control is doing. I don't know if it's fucking giving me all of the things. Like it could be so underlying.
What you're saying about like wanting to know what is what with like, is this my anxiety? Is this my depression? Is this my OCD? Is this my autism? Is this my
literally
other thing? I feel that too, because that's like when I started developing more anxiety, I like didn't understand. I think at least for me, anxiety and ADHD are a little bit more easy to decipher, but it's harder to figure out like how to treat the anxiety. And I think for me a lot of it is I've really not ever thought, like I think I asked my doctor about medication, but she was like, I want you to try doing more therapy first.
Like about more anxiety medication, you mean?
Yeah, because I truly like the thought of trying anxiety medication really scares me.
Because of like symptoms, or what about it scares you?
Yeah, the symptom side of it.
That's interesting.
But I think for the most part right now, like I can deal with it until I go to sleep, and then it fucks me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't sleep.
Maybe try weed gummy.
Well, I started taking ZQL recently.
Oh, ZQL's great.
It's great, but it's not good that if I make it.
Yeah, you can't be taking it every night, probably.
No, it's not good.
That's hard. It's interesting with like symptoms, because I hear that more from my friends who try medications. Is always like the symptoms, or like they start taking it for a few days and then they're like, oh, I've been really experiencing way worse anxiety, or I've been experiencing this other symptom. And I don't think I've really had that with any medication I've taken. Like the Lexapro helped the most of anxiety and depression. Like how you're saying, it turns off those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like it made them go away almost. Like it was almost fully taking away any like catastrophizing or bad case scenarios or anything that I would do in my mind. That was like gone. So it kind of helped me concentrate more, and like that I was like not feeling as much like my life was over, like I was a terrible person and all these things, where then I was able to like do homework slightly better, but I still like had a lot of the focusing issues. So then that's like when we moved, and I told the new doctor that she's very good at listening and like taking into account everything. And I did the new surveys for ADHD and for depression and anxiety. And then she suggested the Wellbutrin, because it's supposed to also help with the concentration and stuff. And I just don't think it really does that much. But it's when we moved, Cameron also went to his doctor at the same time. We were like, we're starting over, we're getting all of our shit figured out. And they did give him Adderall. And I took some of his for a week or something. And it was like the most life-changing week of my life, honestly. Like it was actually crazy how much I got done and how just better I felt in life in general. But then I had the thing of like, am I feeling too like wired in a way that people who do it for fun feel? I think you're feeling
normal. Like. That's how normal people feel.
But sometimes like the productivity high is like, because I had to go when I first started Adderall, I had to fix my dose. Like it was too high for me. Yeah, it was way too high. I was like wired beyond belief, and like it was
clenching
wrong. And I was clenching my jaw like crazy. My jaw hurt.
But that's me always.
Like, go to sleep at night.
Like, do you not just always?
If you take too much Adderall, your gums feel numb or something, and you like bite.
So I like went down dosage, and it like made the world of a difference.
Like, do you feel also, like, to me it felt like I was drinking like a real good cup of coffee or something, and then like had concentration.
That might be a little too high.
And it probably was. Like, it wasn't even my prescription.
I mean, if
but the fact that the doctor just gave it to Cameron.
I know. Well, it's because he did ZocDoc is why. That's like when my friends try to get other prescriptions and stuff, they do ZocDoc, and then it's like a random fucking doctor somewhere. But that seems sketchy to me too. Like I want to figure out the actual right medicine for me. Like I guess I gaslight myself.
Yeah. It's hard.
Also, there are some doctors, like my mom has this friend who's like, he works in neurology and he tests people for ADHD, and he is very pro like Vyvanse medicating people with ADHD. Like he's like, it will change your life. And he's not all like, it's a controlled substance, you got to be careful with it. He's literally like, I can tell if you have ADHD, and Vyvanse is going to change your life and make your life so much easier.
It was Vyvanse also, actually. It was not Adderall. It was Vyvanse.
Yeah.
He doesn't prescribe anything else? Like no other type of ADD medication?
I don't know. He was just talking about how, I mean, he has ADHD and he takes Vyvanse, and he said that it like changed his life. So
it's like very interesting. I don't know. Oh, but then Cameron got a different one. I think it's Strattera or something. I might be making that up, what it's called. But it's like he takes it once a day, and it's not like, it doesn't make you feel wired or anything. What is the like class of drug that Adderall is?
Stimulant.
Maybe a stimulant.
Amphetamine. A stimulant, yeah.
I don't know. It's like not that. Like it's like a slow release.
Strattera is a...
Oh, is it a stimulant still?
Selective norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor.
I don't know. That he takes that now for his ADHD, and it helps so much. Like there's times where he forgets to take it for like a month or a few weeks. There's a huge difference. And he doesn't feel like wired or anything, but it just helps him like concentrate more and focus. So I'm like, maybe I should do something like that.
On the Google, it says, is Strattera for anxiety or ADHD? And it said it can help improve, or it can help treat anxiety too.
Oh yeah, they did tell him that actually. But see, that's like what I think mine is, of how they're like, it can also help your concentration, but then they just want to give me a higher dose of it when I say that it's not fully helping as much. So then that's hard because I'm like, I don't know if I would necessarily want to just try more.
Right. Because Wellbutrin is working with like the dopamine in your brain. And your dopamine is what helps you focus. Like a lack of dopamine is something that people with ADHD suffer with. And also it can make you anxious and depressed. Whereas like an SSRI is for the serotonin in your brain rather than the dopamine. Mm-hmm. And some people take both.
Yeah, some people do take both.
I think that I'm pretty sure ADHD though is more about the receptors in your brain too that are connected to dopamine.
Yeah.
Versus like amount of dopamine.
It's very interesting. Like our brains are freaking cool. I loved all my like neurology classes I took in school. Also, my therapist, the old therapist, did really want me to do a brain scan, and it was just really expensive. But she was like saying how much that can really help everything and would give me more answers kind of on finding out, do I have lower dopamine? Do I have lower GABA? Whatever the fuck. Like, and then the actual like shape of your brain and everything.
That would be really interesting.
I think that would be really cool to do a brain scan.
It'd be so cool.
There's Doc Amon, I think, does a lot of like brain scans, and like he's kind of been a little funky recently. That I don't love all his stuff, but he does.
I've never even heard of him.
Scans.
Me either.
And does a lot of like diagnosis or like understanding of like your brain, overall brain health. Mm-hmm. Like he's the guy I think that did the Kardashian, like Chloe scan.
Oh yeah. Oh. I recall that. Oh yeah, I feel like there was controversy recently, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, he just is like he's just very opinionated on like weed and alcohol and a few other things that I think kind of.
That's also the thing. No, go ahead.
He pulls a lot of studies that favor his opinions. Mm-hmm. So he's like, weed is bad, and he's pulling all the studies that say weed is bad. But I think there's also a lot of studies that say weed is helpful.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So I think he just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost you have to find the doctor that like is willing to or understands more about what you're going through. Like my doctor knew nothing about ADHD. So when I brought it up, she's like, yeah, I don't do that. You have to see a psychiatrist to be tested.
Really?
And she even told me the whole spiel about usually people are diagnosed as kids for ADHD. It's like, okay, well, that is not updated research. So, like, this was not helpful.
My new therapist told me that I should go to a psychiatrist. I've just had, like,
for ADHD.
And just for about my meds in general. Like, because I just told her about that experience with the doctor and everything and how they would just want me to up it and kind of how I just feel about that. But also I feel like I'm going to go off birth control after we get married and just try to still not get pregnant. But I feel like that will like, I don't know. I'm just really excited to like have that as a variable that's gone so that I can kind of like re-see like what I actually need. Because I did also
want to take a risk in the next year to see if you get pregnant or not.
Not in the next year, not before the wedding. Could you imagine? Just a giant bump.
It'd be so cute.
No, it would not be. It would not be at all. But yeah, I feel like I just want to like experience what it's like, because I did try going off Wellbutrin without my doctor's permission, and I thought at first I felt no different, and then I was like, oh, I definitely feel more depressed. So it's well, doing something
interesting to see. Yeah.
But I just like, it's hard when you still feel symptoms of anxiety and depression, and then you're like, is it doing anything or
exactly? Yeah, medication is not going to be a cure-all. You still have to do the work. You still have to like work out or move your body, and you still have to like go to therapy or talk things out. You know,
what I thought was kind of interesting. I watched Victoria, Just Being Farley's vlog, and she was saying that I've been meaning to watch she's working on. It's really good. I'm like so proud of her and excited for her, because
I know, me too.
But like, I think it's funny because obviously a lot of people like with, I think you've said this too, Dev, is like, you can't really start out with vlogs necessarily because people don't know you as well. But like, because I know her, like I loved her vlog, and I'm like, I only want vlogs. But yeah, that's my own personal opinion. But she was talking about how like she's working with her doctor to like figure out her medications. So she's journaling a lot about like just kind of like her feelings and stuff and documenting it. And I was like, that's so smart to like be able to like actually see the differences instead of like looking back and trying to rely on your brain to remember like, oh, I felt like shit most of the time, but maybe you didn't really feel that bad like over the course of like 30 days.
That's what I was going to say, Deb, for when you were talking about the questionnaire of like when it's asking you like how many times in a week, and then you're like, well, some weeks are good and some weeks are bad. Like that's why my doctor had me keep track of my mood for like several months to try to see if like there was patterns like within my cycle rather than like just all the time feeling that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely smart to like keep track. And after you start the medication is also smart to be keeping track of all the symptoms and everything, because that's really hard for people, especially with the SSRIs. Like it can take 6 weeks plus to even feel anything. So, and then it's like, then I have to evaluate how I'm feeling, and then should I switch, should I increase the dose, should I lower it? Like it's very hard to be trying out meds.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, and it takes it's a process.
Yeah. Also, like you're saying about alcohol, I have recently kind of been like, I feel like everybody's going on these like sobriety journeys lately, or like being sober curious or these things. And like, it's not like I'm a huge drinker or anything, or like I get drunk all the time, but I think definitely lately I have been drinking more often. Like I'll just have one drink, but like I have one drink like 4 times a week. And like that's kind of, I don't know. I've been thinking about what if I just stopped drinking for like even a month or something, and seeing how that would make me feel.
I think it's been one of the best things I've done. Like,
wait, you haven't been drinking?
Not a lot, no.
Oh.
I mean, I do, but like I'm compared to like 6 months to a year ago, it's like I probably dropped like at least like reduced it by like 2/3, I would say.
Wow.
But it's just like one of the things, I think we were even talking about this, Dev, like when you were here, like alcohol affects my like stomach, which affects like my brain. Like my brain and my stomach are
so much of your serotonin's in your gut too.
Yeah. So whenever I'm feeling like off with my stomach, it's like it throws everything else off. And that's like a sneaky thing that I've been able to see more because I haven't been drinking as much. Like I had like one cocktail last night and I don't feel great this morning. Like it's just crazy. What a difference it makes for me. But
it is such like a crutch though. Like
it's a really weird thing to start like switching to water and like choosing water over a drink.
I've been like buying Dr. Pepper. I used to love Dr. Pepper, and I like stopped drinking soda for a while, but I was like, I want to stop drinking wine every single night, but I want something to look forward to. So I've just been drinking like those mini cans of Dr. Pepper, and I haven't actually been drinking during the week.
Dude, I've been doing the same, but then soda, like I did stop drinking Dr. Pepper for a long time, or I'd like only drink it like once a week or something if I was going out to a restaurant. But like now that I've been having it, I've been buying it too and having like one a day or something. And then I feel grosser. Like I do notice in my body.
What about like
I don't feel great.
Poppy?
Have you guys tried Zevia? Joe really likes Zevia instead of
I don't know if I've
and they like make similar flavors to, I don't actually know, but it's apparently a healthier version of like Dr. Pepper and
yeah, I love like the Doc Poppies or whatever. They're just also expensive. Like it's a lot to be buying a fucking $7 soda to have per day.
Do they have them at Costco?
That's a great question. I'm not sure.
They probably don't have all the flavors though. They probably only have like the strawberry, raspberry lemonade or whatever.
Yeah, I don't like those ones as much. I like the Dr. Pop and I like the Coke one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because you get in the habit of having like something good to drink every night or whatever. So like just have it replacing.
I took away wine out of the house and it like makes a world of a difference because I just
if it's not there,
I'm not gonna drink a glass.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna like make myself a cocktail every night.
Yeah.
So it helps.
I think it's also like having people visiting or like when you have plans and stuff, and then I feel like I can't. Like I'm like, oh, I should do a month of no drinking, but then I'm already like, okay, well, if we have plans at the end of this month, I'm going to Arizona. Or then like if we're hanging out next month, like I want to be drinking. Like it's hard to plan like a time to be sober.
I feel like there's never really a time to do it, honestly, and it's just a matter of like making a decision and being like, I'm like when I go out, like I have to consciously think about it. I'm like, when I go out, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Like I'm going to have a water. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then
I think situational drinking is fine too. Like,
yeah,
I think just the summer is like a thing where there's so many situations. Like it's every week basically. There's like situations where you're drinking.
And there's like always, it's like, oh, it's a nice day out, or like, oh, it's a nice
literally
night out.
Like I love a patio drink.
You know
so
what?
much.
That's better than like what I hated was like I would be in a bad mood and I didn't feel like cooking dinner. So then I would have a glass of wine to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And like that is so much worse than being like, oh, it's a nice night out. I'm gonna, like it depends on the situation that you're drinking for.
Yeah.
That's so true. I've definitely gotten rid of like a lot of emotional drinking. Like, oh, this is something bad happened. I need a drink. Type of thing.
Yeah, I'm not really like an emotional drinker like that. I will do the thing of like, oh, I want to cook dinner. Like, I'll have a drink. I literally did that last night. Like, I was like, I might as well have a drink then while I'm cooking dinner.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Yeah, and maybe it is like instead of being like, oh, I need a whole month to be sober, it's just making the choices more frequently. So then at that one time of the month, then it's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. There's also like a lot of alcohol problems in my family. So it's like a double thing of where I feel like I always have to be like cautious about it. But I've never been like someone where I feel like, oh, like I need a drink or like.
Yeah. I feel that.
Have you heard of like the Kin Euphorics drinks?
No, but I've been
wanting to try them.
Are they like the recess ones? Have you seen those? Because I was just talking to Cameron about those this weekend.
What is the
Are the recess ones the CBD ones?
It's not CBD. Maybe they do have one that has CBD or something, but it's like, I don't know. Like it's like vitamins and shit where it says that like it gives you a buzzed, happy feeling, but it doesn't have.
Yeah, that's what these are like. Adaptogens to help you manage stress, nootropics, botanics.
Like shit like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to try those.
Should we try those should we do like a taste test at our...
Maybe.
Yeah, they sell cans of them now.
Oh, also Victoria, just being Farley, she got a bunch of that like non-alcoholic alcoholic. She got like a rosé that's non-alcoholic and beers and
that
also
also
a bunch
helps.
Of different things. I was like, oh, that would be cool too.
Because you still feel like I've done like months off of drinking, but I still want like, for some reason, there's just something in my brain that is like, I need alcohol after work or whatever. Yeah. So but I bought like the 0 alcohol beers and I would just drink those. Yeah, it tastes just like a beer.
Really?
And it like kind of satisfies that like taste of like needing a drink.
That's good. I need to try those.
But yeah, I'm interested if that kin euphoric stuff actually like makes you feel better.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if it's mostly made for people who already don't drink. So then like when they feel any sort of buzz, it's like more of a buzz. Like we'd be expecting more of a buzz probably than it gives.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so I think basically my medication journey is I'm just going to stick with what I'm on for the next year. Get off birth control. Maybe just get off everything. Maybe just raw dog everything. And then see.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't do that.
Well, I'll talk to the doctor. But maybe that would be the best way to see, like, have a flat myself. Like, I literally have not experienced just my own self for 10 years.
That's a long time.
That's so long.
Damn.
Could be interesting, I guess.
Yeah. What are your guys'
as long as you don't have, like,
plans?
Any plans. As long as you don't have a plan to, like, you, like, have to accomplish X, Y, and Z.
Well,
like,
I'm sure there'll be, like, work things, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, maybe I should wait till, like, after honeymooning and everything. Yeah. I'm just, like, depressed.
And maybe, like, after, like, any big house projects, too.
Yeah. True. I just never get off. So are you just going to monitor yourself, Dev, and see?
Yeah, I still really want to know if I have ADHD, but I'm not really sure what the next step is because my doctor wasn't helpful in that.
That's so interesting. Yeah. And is your primary care doctor?
Yeah.
Maybe mine was only chill about it because I already had a prescription.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think people who have been on it for longer or like almost before the like craze of doing it recreationally, then they're like fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's like then you need to find a psychiatrist who really believes in women being underdiagnosed and like, you know, not someone that's just like old school boys are diagnosed in kindergarten type thing.
I was also still in college the last time I asked for it, so I wonder if too that was like a sign of like, oh, she's just in college, probably trying to get her homework done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think it's like Adderall's kind of it scares me a little bit too, just because I do like it recreationally.
Yeah.
So
I would. Yeah. I think I'd also be scared
every
of that.
day, I don't think, but I don't know. I just don't think my brain works normally, and it frustrates me all the time.
I wonder if the Wellbutrin thing would be helpful for you.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
Maybe.
I'm gonna see how this does for a bit.
How long did she talk about like how long she wants you to try it for?
Well, I have an appointment next week with her. So I guess we're going to talk about how it's doing. And then I'm sure there'll be another follow-up. Yeah.
Do you think you want to try it for like 3 months then and see what's...
Probably.
It's such a long process.
I know.
It is. I think that's what's like kind of daunting about everything.
For sure.
Like, it's not like this immediate quick fix, like, okay, it's over, it's done. Like,
and then at the end of the 3 months, if you're like, oh, I need to try something new, then it's like, great, another 3 months.
All my time.
Yeah. I guess that's a good, maybe like if people are in the same boat, is like just the patience of it and like being kind to yourself like through the process.
Definitely. I think I've also just come to realize, like, how you're saying something's just wrong with your brain. Like, me and my friend Victoria, since we're literally in 4th grade, like, we've thought that. Like, something is different within us that other people have. Like, we would watch people functioning and just be like, how are other people doing these things? And, like, we physically can't do them. And she's more, like, kind of like your sister of, like, keeping her room clean or more functioning type things like that. But, like, now that we're so much older and we've done therapy and we've tried several different medications and we've done all these things, it's like I think I've come to the realization that my brain's just different and that I just have to live with that.
Yeah.
And that maybe people act like they're functioning more than they are. Like maybe you perceive other people being better than they are.
Yeah. I'm also like very pro medication though, and I don't think that you just have to live with it. You know, but like obviously there's always going to be hard things to deal with, but like there are also options for you to make it easier.
Maybe that's the problem though. Like maybe I just haven't ever found a medication that does that then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I've never felt like fixed or like there was like a solve.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting though? I'm sure that like it's kind of the medication is kind of a constant thing because your brain it changes its brain chemistry and it changes its like structures and functions and all these things over time. So like maybe that's another thing to just know is like even if you do go on medication in like 3 to 5 years from now, like you're probably gonna have to like try something different because
my brain fully developed this year.
yeah. But it's not even like the fully developed. It's like your brain just become like that's why like a lot of times like with Adderall, like you have to change your dosage or like you have to change medications because your brain just adapts to what you're giving it. And so it completely stops producing, you know, what it used to produce.
Why does that not happen with birth control?
What do you mean?
Like that they're giving you the hormones that makes your body feel like it's pregnant or whatever so you don't get pregnant. Why is that like the only thing that you don't like build a tolerance for kind of? Like you would with any other drugs or alcohol or medications.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
I'm not a doctor, believe it or not.
Shocking.
Do some research.
Should we make our Spotify question? What meds are you on?
Yeah.
What's your favorite prescription drug?
No, but really, if you're listening on Spotify, go answer the question in the poll. We should do a poll of if you've ever been on medication or not. For sure. Yeah. That'd be so interesting. I would love to know that because I think a lot of people don't talk about it that are on it.
Right.
And there's so many other things out there that like medical and mental illnesses that we don't have that other people do.
Yeah, my sister actually takes like a medication that is made for bipolar for her depression.
See, I hear that a lot, that can be very, very helpful.
And it significantly has helped her. Like she wakes up in a good mood.
Shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Her body did kind of like adjust to it more. Like when she first started taking it, it was like, wow, I feel so much better. And now she's like kind of more normalized on it. But
that's how I felt with Wellbutrin. Like it was like immediately I felt better. And then I was like, maybe it went away. I also wonder how much of that is placebo when you start a new medication where you're like looking to feel better, kind of.
That's so interesting. And then you kind of just forget about it.
Yeah, like it just gives you more hope and you're like, oh, I'm cured.
Yeah. Yeah. But overall, it's scary to talk to your doctor, but you can definitely do it. And doctors, like I always tell my friends too, they've seen way worse or like more embarrassing things than you're going to bring to them. Like one of my friends just had to re-ask her doctor for a prescription after she didn't take it for months and months and like then needed it re-prescribed. And she was like freaking out, like they're going to, I don't even know what they would do. That would be so bad.
And that's like, I'm in that same boat right now. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen my doctor in like a long time. And I am going to have to be like, hey, I fucked up.
Yeah, like it can be nerve-wracking or embarrassing, but like it's I guarantee really probably fucking 80% of their patients fuck up. Like and that's what they're used to
it. And they don't continue thinking. As soon as they leave the room, they're not thinking about you anymore. You know? Like they're not.
But I also think too, like you were saying, or I don't know if it was you, Devin, but you can like go to a new doctor and like if like your doctor is not like kind and receptive and like you're vibing with them, like I think it's good to just find a new doctor, similar to like a therapist. Like you don't have to like stay with the one doctor that you get.
I think also ZocDoc can be good for that too. Like if you're nervous, like my friends more who have anxiety will just do ZocDoc or something because it's like easier for them thinking of that. It's not someone in their city and like they're not in a room sitting there. It's like a very quick meeting.
Oh, so like they do telehealth on ZocDoc.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's probably less great medical care, like when the people don't know you, but if you're scared and you just need something done.
But if you're going to your doctor for anxiety or depression, first of all, you have to like say what the reason that you're visiting. So you can put depression. And then when you go in, your doctor and the medical assistant, they're professionals. They know exactly how to handle the situation. So they ask you all the questions and they listen, and they already have, like, they're used to it. They're not like, depression? I've never seen depression before. Like, you think so you have depression? Like, they're like, okay, they are used to this. That's what
that's probably the most like helpful thing ever.
And they lead like you through.
Like, yeah.
They're also not like, okay, tell me about your depression.
Exactly.
Like, they ask you questions and, you know.
And like you were saying about the things of like exercising and eating healthy and stuff, I think I felt embarrassed requesting the medication when I wasn't doing those things, to be like, oh yeah, well, I'm not doing those things, so like I know that would help. But like they also experience that as well, where people aren't doing the correct things, and they know that medication can help you be able to do those things, so you don't need to be embarrassed.
Yeah,
but everyone is embarrassed, so it's fine if you are.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Any closing thoughts?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you go answer our poll and question if you're listening in Spotify, and we will share your responses on our Instagram. So make sure you're following our Instagram as well, and our TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Join our Facebook community, and we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.